Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're gonna talk about solar cars. So let's dive right into it. Now, idea is super simple. I don't have to explain it much. It's basically sunlight is free. It's untaxable. So it's everywhere. And I mean actually everywhere, as in like from Nepal to India to Pakistan to Australia to everywhere. So it's everywhere. And the primary reason why people are interested in it now is that every Tom, Dick and Harry is seeing a solar farm. Now, solar farm is a different kind of beast simply because if a solar farm is something that people see, is people are assuming few things. A, it's profitable. B, it actually works. So the more solar farm people see, the more they trust solar technology simply because that means it's working. It's like it's one thing like, okay, my country experimented with solar farm one place or another. No, it's another where you are talking about like almost every office or school they are trying to have solar installed, because one person can be idiot, one or two projects can be done in laws, not every. So that's why people are more excited about solar technology. And they are like, okay, we have cars, what if we put solar panels on cars? It's not too complex idea. Solar has basically there is enough surface area on car to actually get some energy out of it, so why not do this? Now let's come to reality a bit. Car takes a lot of energy, which most people have no conceptual understanding simply because car have weird units of measurement, which is horsepower. Does not mean anything. It's like, what horsepower? What does that mean? Nothing. It's like it's just an arbitrary unit. So to practically quantify it, you have to utilize 746 watts. So and in modern cars you will easily find it like they will have horsepower and kilowatt rated at the same time. So the idea is 1 horsepower is almost, let's just assume with inefficiencies, 1 kilowatt of energy. A car that is as cheap as Tata Nano also requires around 37 horsepower, aka 28 kilowatt of energy. And I can tell you, most people flat out will not want to drive that car, not because it's a bad car or it's unsafe or anything like that. It's way too lightweight. It almost feels like an auto, basically tuk-tuk on a four-wheel. So to say, many people don't want to. And for average consumer, and I'm talking Indian average consumer, you need at least 50 horsepower. So that would be much more. And you would like, okay, I can live with 28 kilowatt. Here's the deal. This is the size of a 28 kilowatt solar array. It's like almost size of small playgrounds. It's huge. You can, like, you need multiple bus, at least I think 2 or 3 bus to achieve this kind of surface area on the rooftop. So flat out is not something that you can put on car. And that's why whenever you type any solar car, you only see cars that are like half experimental and flying boats. Basically, these systems are specifically designed to be as efficient as possible, as uncomfortable as possible, because they do not have padding on the seat, they do not have air condition, and if you are unaware of it and you sit inside it, you can actually die simply because of dehydration. It gets so hot. Like these things are very good for pushing the technology, really good for basically whoever is investing money into it, and like people who are working on it. It helps them to get better careers, advances technology. It's almost like F1. So it does have actual uses, but for a common public transport, hell no, heck no, don't even think about it. No. So reality is, do not expect your car to run on solar power. However, it still has some uses. For example, subsystems. Even when you're talking about a petrol car or diesel car or internal combustion engines, they have lot of electrical subsystems. Now I'm talking about subsystems that are not optional. Basically, you do not want to drive a car whose a pump that is controlling the what we call anti-lock braking system fails. You do not want to. You do not want to be inside a car that has like a electrical powered system of steering wheel, electrical power steering wheel, and it fails to work. So you can understand modern car have lot of electronics that are non-optional, aka they must work, they must drain a lot of power. Now, how do modern system provides power for this? They generally, the alternator size went from very tiny thing to huge alternators, so it drains a significant amount of power from the car engine to charge the big ass battery to provide the for starter and like continuously run the load. So there is a lot of system in modern cars, even in combustion system, where it's like if you can take that electrical load away, GG. So there is a lot of serious issues with our current car, and I'm talking about petrol car, and I'm pretty sure most of you would have experienced this in lockdown, is that if you leave your car in prolonged stay, basically you're not doing anything, it's just like stay here in this garage for 1 month, most of the car would be dead simply because of the battery. It has happened to me. And if you know anything about car, you know for a fact that if a battery goes down below, like if you have issues where you're starting the system and it happens regularly, yeah, the battery is dead. Like you have to replace the battery. So fundamentally, many people will pay good amount of money if they do not have to deal with that, especially if people who are not utilizing car on a day-to-day basis. I don't use my car that often, but the battery issue is something like, for that I have to actually start my car, let it be run for like 15-20 minutes, and then shut it off. So fundamentally that does create an issue where it's like, if I had a better option, which you can have a solar panel on the roof. Heck, even in a garage you can just simply have a light bulb where it's like trickle charging your battery. And many cars are moving from 12 volt to 24 volts. Luxury cars are already there, and soon most of the vehicle industry will move into 24 volts, simply because 12 volt was a bad idea. It was made in like 1890s or something like that. It's like, back then we barely understood electrical system, barely had back then you actually had a hand crank on vehicles, so you could crank start it if you need to. So understanding all these contexts, reality is 12 volt is not good enough. Consequence of that is like, our cables are way too thick, as in like gauge wise they are way too thick. They have very high square mm, simply because they have to carry too much current, which is really inefficient. So moving to 48 volt basically it divides by 4. That's how much a reduction you will have in basically not only your heat output of your car electrical system will go down, your cable requirement will also go down, so it will make it efficient in all ways. So many cars are moving into that. So you can understand this fact that electrical load on an internal combustion engine is a significant enough thing. So if car roof have enough energy to top it all up, like basically just top up the battery, or have enough to like power the what we call infotainment system, that's more than good enough. That's like, people like, good, GG. So there are a lot of room for improvement, not for driving the car, but for subsystems. Awesome. Then we come to another aspect. It's air conditioner. Now this was, I first time heard it like I think in History Channel there was talking about a luxury car. The idea is that car actually has a lot of glass. Consequence of that, it acts as like a big greenhouse. And I'm talking about in India, this puppy can get hot. How hot you are talking about? As in, you will actually go up, I mean like really up, if you are inside that car. So fundamentally speaking, in few hours a car can go from basically mildly annoying to literally dangerous. People have actually cooked food inside. I'm not even joking about it. Like, people can cook food properly inside because it gets so hot, and people are doing this in like places which has like 40 degrees Celsius. Come to India, this probably has 60 degrees Celsius. So be mindful, like this is dangerous. Like, people have lost their life, kind of dangerous. So solar is very active in this sort of time. So what can you do? You can easily provide enough power to run either the air conditioner or a blower fan just to circulate the air. So yes, it will not be as cold as an air conditioning unit, but it will be better than anything else. And if air is circulating, it will not cook your inside of the car. So luxury cars have tried this, and if more and more car utilizes this, will be actually useful. This will actually save fuel on a car, simply because for a fact that if you have to left your car on some work system, let's say you go to office, your car is parked in sunlight, and you leave office at let's say 5 p.m. At that time your car would be cooked. It would be idiotically hot. In that sort of scenario, you have to turn on the key and floor the air conditioning unit to cool the system as quickly as possible. That wastes a lot of fuel. It's bad on your bank account. So having solar here helps out a lot. It stops the situation from getting worse, and in good well-designed system, it will not even let you. Heck, you could come in and it's like, oh my basically car was left in the sun for a few hours and I come home, it's like freezing. So that could happen. Then we come to another aspect. More and more people are moving to electronic vehicles, basically EVs. Now, are there any benefits of that? Yes. Even best EV, the best technology you can buy, still has what we call self-discharging. What does that mean? That simply means, think of this. Let's say you're a retiree, or you are a person who only goes out for market once a week, and you charge your car on that night. It's like, I came from Sunday night from market, and I am like plugging it in, charging it, and disconnecting. Everything is awesome. But what will happen in 6 days that you are not touching it? It will slowly lose charge. So you can start out with 100 kilowatt in your tank, aka then you can lose 1 kilowatt, then you can lose 2 kilowatt over time, and the longer it goes, the faster it starts to lose. So it will start off like very little kilowatts, like if you won't even notice it to, oh wait a minute, you lost 50% of the charge. So fundamentally all batteries suffer from this. This is an inherent part of it. Now what happens if you put enough solar panels on your car, like Lightyear One car company did that? It has enough power to trickle charge it. It's like, it will basically halt the self degradation, and it will slowly top it up. Now this company is claiming they're making some bold claim, is that if you let it in sun for whole day, you can recharge your car up to 70 kilometer basically per day. That's a lot, as in so much that there are many people who drive their car daily and they park their car on an open basically parking spot. Basically you do not have sunshade. So in those sort of scenario, this car would be amazing. This car would be like, you don't even have to put load on your electrical system, because again, you can easily see it's like, is the battery working or not? And when it's on the sunlight, it's just charging it up. You don't even have to worry about it. So and it will also help your main battery to stay healthy. So these technology is not as a core technology but as a supplemental technology. It's really helpful in these three core systems: subsystem support, making your air conditioning work when it's most needed, and basically in EV case, helping the battery system. So you could even have a scenario where it's like you left your discharged car in your sunlight for, like, let's say 1 week or something, and it can be charged fully. So again, if you do not use your car regularly and you want to have EV simply because even when you do use, you don't travel very far, this would be amazing technology for that kind of scenario. So there are certain use cases where putting solar panels on, basically the cost of it, the basically the weight of solar cells and all that jazz, it's worth it. So that's why solar panel on cars are not completely useless idea. For driving, yes, 100% useless. For other things, amazingly useful technology. I will willingly pay for it if I could do that on my Maruti Espresso. So this was my presentation on solar car. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.